All right, so let's get into the first segment tonight, which is Thormun's journal entry number 10. And so we got two paragraphs here. And so last time we were talking and this is actually an entirely new like printed book because apparently they couldn't fit all the entries in one, or there's like updates or upgrades probably. Like some were probably written in years previous, like the first 9, like correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy, but this is just what my mind is thinking. Like the first 9 were probably written when the game was like originally created, and then these other ones like followed. Would that be accurate to say?
If I recall, the first 9 was written by Craig Van Ness, and then they hired a writer to take over, and then so that division is basically the separation between the entries that were written by Craig Van Ness and then the new writer that was hired, which I want to say was Mr. Bistro. But that's new information I got as of like a couple months ago, so I can't I'm not entirely sure because I didn't actually know who was doing what, but they did mention Mr. Bistro wrote a lot of the post, like in the Swarm of the Morrow context stuff, which includes this part. So because a lot of this came out afterwards.
Okay, well that makes sense. So journal entry 10. So it's like if you're downloading these, and there is a link in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're downloading these, they come in like I think 4 separate PDFs, and this is the second one. And Jandor's orders, or Thormun's journal, quote unquote, and then Jandor's orders entries 10 through 20 in this one. And so we're going to start journal entry 10. So who wants to take a shot at the first paragraph there?
I got it.
You got it, Jeremy? All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Much has happened since my last journal entry. After seeing the Morrow Horde and Blade Gruts, Raylan and I decided to separate. She flew north to warn Jandor's northern army led by Sergeant Drake Alexander. I flew east over the Sigling Sea to make sure there was not a second assault wave of evil warriors. We were fearful that Utgard may have taken Ekstrom by then.
All right. Joe, do you want to do the second?
Certainly.
Alrighty.
This is it sigilling?
Sigling. I say
sigling.
Sigling.
Yeah.
I've never seen that word before. The Sigling Sea is a great sea. So I gratefully island hopping along the way to preserve my strength on one of these islands. I noticed 4 Kyrie flying toward me from the south, observing them from the safety of a towering evergreen. I was relieved to see the silver and blue armor of Jandor's army, and I flew to greet them. It turned out to be Jandor himself. Accompanied by Konkan, the Tyrant, and Kelda, Jandor reacted quickly to the information that I passed along to him and began giving us orders, which I relate in detail in my following journal entries. So we getting cliffhangers now? What is this?
We're getting a setup. This is basically just setting up for what's to follow, I think, basically.
Yeah.
So everyone's got to wait 2 weeks. Following. Wow.
Well, so the funny thing is about this journal entry, or at least this portion, if those remember from earlier podcast episodes, we were told by Carmine that this particular portion of the Thormun's journal was what they were basing the current Age of Annihilation on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were using what was going on here to kind of like base their current production in the Age of Annihilation plot device. So, it's interesting because it's like, you know, you have this fragment from the past. They used to release these in, like, I remember it was in like packets, I guess you could say. Like we would get like 5 entries at a time, 4 entries at a time, and they were accessible through the original Heroscape website, you know, good old Heroscape.com when that was actually a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, these entries, I want to say, when they came out, they came out before Swarm of the Morrow, but they were working towards setting up Swarm of the Morrow, if that makes sense. Because then, like later on, that's when we see all that stuff happen. So, but yeah, this is it's a fun little artifact, I think, of the Heroscape era, because of the way they were leading things up in the future.
Right. Let me see here, and I'm sorry for those of you if you're watching this on YouTube, and you're seeing like the journal entry on the screen in front of you. The lettering might be small because I'm trying to zoom it up a little bit, but usually I would have time to adjust this, and I just did not have time to set up anything much. I had set up really quickly tonight, so if you're squinting, I apologize. But let's see here. I want to ask something. When Raylan separated, then where did Thormun go?
Thormun went east.
So he went east.
He was
now on the map. Where's the Sigling Sea? So if I like
so
go
there's
down
a
here.
body of water. Yeah, there's a body of water in between. It's like right in the middle of all of those. Lauer, Nostrland, Ekstrom, Austriac has 2 little islands in it.
So it's this big. It's one of the biggest body of waters there in Valhalla.
Yeah,
right?
right there.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
It's got two. It's got 2 islands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He said island hop, so I'd imagine there's probably like tinier
Yeah.
ones.
Oh
that
yeah,
they
I'm sure
went
there's
to,
tinier ones, and then these are just the bigger ones in there. I would imagine.
They got discovered.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
he flew over that.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, there's your visual reference there. That's where that is. Okay. Let me bring this back up here.
Yeah, I don't think they mark it until the 2nd edition of the map, which was the one that they put in Tikala Jungle. Good old days.
And so what significance is of the Sigling Sea, and why is it named that way? Do we know?
As far as we know, Sigling is either someone important to the Valhallan culture, because most of the names we get are either people that we actually meet as characters or like legendary figures, like Thorian. So I'd imagine, just following that naming convention, I think most of the names we get are from like ancient Valhalla lore characters that they just either would have revisited in the future with new sets or something like that. Because we do see a couple of these names pop up, and even in the journal entry, they mention Konkan, Tyrion, and Kelda. We have Konkan and Kelda as characters, and Tyrion was more of like a narrative character. There's no spoilers, but yeah, Tyrion's not here for a reason. Yeah. We'll see. We'll get there. But I mean, it's interesting to kind of see, because like I feel like they were building it up as they went along, and they were introducing these characters over time and would revisit them when they had the chance. And then of course, when they shut down, I was like, these names kind of just float in between. So up to your imagination. But I would think it would have someone important in Valhalla history.
All right. Ekstrom, that city. Do we know anything about that? Have we talked about that city before?
Yeah, that's Uller's province.
Okay.
That he's in charge of. He's Arch-Kyrie of that landscape.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So government control over that area.
All right. Any other observations from anyone else on this?
No, I'm just upset that we're not reading more.
Well,
look, I'm into cliffhangers. I'm a story guy. Okay, I like a good story. But man, leaving these people on another 2-week just to get a setup of Thormun flying on the ocean, seeing his pals, seeing Jandar and the group of Kyrie gang. And he's like, all right, guys, I got some details for you. Until next time, I'll see you guys. Like and subscribe. I'd be like, what are we doing? What?
Okay, okay, Joe, your wish has been heard and your wish has been granted. Okay, let's
No. We gotta stay on a time schedule. We gotta move on to the air elemental, all right? We don't have time for this.
When you were talking, I looked at the clock and we do have actually extra time left. So
No. We gotta make everyone wait now.
My name is Tales of a Hal, and I've spoken. If that carried anyway, I don't know. But I do control the buttons. So
no.
Amazing.
okay, wrong window. Okay, so and this will give me and Jason a chance to read. Journal entry number 11. Let's just do that. Okay. So Jason, next paragraph here. All right. Good luck.
All right. You guys gotta stop laughing. You want me to read, so
Go ahead.
take your time.
Go ahead.
It's Joe's fault.
It's all Joe's fault. Fair enough. Jandar's orders begin as follows: Konkan, Tyrene, and Kelda and Thormun, you four must convince the other Valkyrie that we need their help in the war against Utgar. Weeks ago, I sent emissaries, but I have had visions that they were intercepted and executed. Utgar's forces are growing in Lower and Upper Bleakwood, and we will not win this war alone. Tell the Valkyrie that it's only a matter of time before Utgar's hordes invade their lands. There are 3 known Valkyrie who are also Archkyrie: Ular of Ekstrom, Vidar of Annam, and Einar of Lindisfarne. Go to Ular first, for he is the closest to us and is our best hope for immediate help.
Yes, calling on the elves. Okay, my turn. Okay, what I now tell you is vital and confidential information about the well springs. Ooh. It must be shared only with the Valkyrie, who pledge their support in the war against Utgar. As you know, the water from the well springs. What does that say? Halts. I thought it said hates.
Halts.
I thought it said hates for a second. Halts. the aging process. It also hates the aging process too, but halts the aging process, makes us stronger, and gives certain Valkyrie visions and special powers. 6 known Valkyrie receive visions: Utkar, Thormun, Einar, Ular, and Vidar, and me. As Kyrie, they shared their visions with the High Council of the Archkyrie, and were each given the title of Valkyrie. It still kind of leaves it at a cliffhanger, but that's as far as we're going to go. So that is journal entry.
There you go, Joe. Another cliffhanger. Enjoy.
11.
Honestly, at least we got information out of that. So
It's
So I have a question.
yes.
Yeah.
So it says, as you know, the water from the wellspring halts the aging process, makes us stronger, and gives certain Valkyrie visions and special powers. Mm-hmm. So does that mean are there other Kyrie that have drank from the well springs and got the first 2, but not the visions?
Probably.
Yeah, the interesting thing is Rise of the Valkyrie, when it first came out, right? That was back in 2004. They mentioned the Valkyrie generals as this like ambiguous group of people. Like there was definitely a plural element to it. It wasn't just the Valkyrie that we knew from the cards, but they mentioned other Valkyrie generals involved in the war. And by the time that these entries even start to get written, this is 60 years after the first discovery of the Wellsprings, right? So there's a lot of conflict that are going on between 60 years up to this point, and we have generally no information regarding the Valkyrie generals, the ambiguous entity Valkyrie generals that were brought up during Rise of the Valkyrie and the release of the ones that ended up teaming up together. So they start focusing in on the ones that are on the cards at this point, and then from this point onwards, we only know about the ones from the cards. But before that, it used to just be like it could have been 10, 20, we don't even know how many Valkyrie were out there fighting for the 60 years up to this point. So, if that makes sense. It's like,
Okay.
Yeah. Think Civil War, everyone's hitting each other until they start teaming up at this point. Yeah.
And that means a lot of Kyrie, a lot of residents in Valhalla have probably perished,
Oh yeah.
to put it
At
lightly.
this
And
point,
that's why
it's
they're
just
bringing
getting-
in
Yeah.
that's probably one of the reasons why they're bringing in now heroes and villains from throughout space and time, basically.
Time to team up. because they're losing the war individually on each of their own fronts. So this is when they start teaming up because they know they can't do it without help.
It would be so fun, and they probably, I don't know, I have to like do research on like lore stories, but it would be fun to like have like official read-ups of like each Valkyrie general and have like novels, you know, based off of them. You know,
Yeah.
that would be fun, like pre, you know, history, because really it's like, it's almost would be like a story gold mine, like in the sense of like Lord of the Rings. If someone would write it up in the sense of like the Silmarillion is, you know, and to give an account and a story of these things happening. Oh my goodness, I'd eat that up.
Right.
I'd absolutely eat that up. And I'm sure that there are like fan lore of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And we'll talk about
Definitely.
that in future podcasts. But for like official stuff, you just get a good, you know, writer or a good team of writers to start producing novels. I mean, like Warhammer 40K. Don't you think people, as long as it's written good, don't you think people would eat that up? You know, eventually.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Probably.
it would gain
I mean-
attention.
Especially combine that with the alphabet that we got through AOA.
Yeah.
You know, if you have the pages on there and you have the, you know, the text with all the cool stuff. Because I mean, that I look at that once in a blue moon. I'm like, oh, should I use this? Like, should I make like a post on my social media using this text? Like, I eventually will, but like, I don't know. I think something like that was like really cool for them to introduce.
Yeah.
I think that was neat.
Yeah, I think one thing that stood out too, while the emergency vehicles are driving by my house, is that Utgar is ruthless. He is very, because you see a glimpse of that to where you see, and hello, I'm Dan Pick. I'll get to your comment in a second. I see like there's something written in this first paragraph in entry 11 here, that it says that, let's see here, we need their help in the war against Utkar. Weeks ago I sent emissaries, but I have had visions that they were intercepted and executed. Utgar's forces are growing. Intercepted and executed by who? Well, obviously Utgar's forces. So we see just a real glimpse of how ruthless Utgar is. I mean, there is no quarter for him. I think his like a novel on him, it'd probably be novels, would be very interesting to see, like how, you know, you rose to this level. Because I mean, a lot of people,
Oh, they were picked. Yeah.
a lot of people say Utgar is just evil just because he is. You know, there's you know, there's no other backstory than that, really, officially. Let's see here. I want to see. Damp Pick says, I always thought Heroscape could have expanded outside board gaming. Books exist for Lego Bionicle, and I love Lego Bionicle. I used to follow Lego Bionicle quite a bit when I was younger.
Bionicle is top notch.
Yeah, the comics from that. Oh, it's so fun. Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, much more. Yeah, I mean, lots of IPs have novels, you know, for them, or anyone worth its salt would or is developing such, just because, I mean, people read that stuff, and especially if it's written well. So yeah, that's, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a gold mine, but it's definitely a wellspring of information that certain people definitely would certainly drink up, you know.
Hey, more fun.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why I made Tales of Valhalla, is because, okay, you got a lot of people that are writing their own fan lore, but I'm like, is there any visual representation of these? Nope. I volunteer. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, Hasbro, not Wizards of the Coast, Avalon Hill, if you're listening, yeah, there's something. Okay, something to add on to your checklist of a already probably growing checklist. All right, and anything else, guys? Anything else before we move on from this?
I'm happy.
All right.
Got my answers.
Joe's happy. Okay. Don't have to go any further than 11 then. Okay. Joe is happy. He's totally
Joe's satisfied.
totally not mind shackled. He can wait for another 2 weeks now. So, okay. Great. That's great. All right. So that has been Thormun's journal entry number 10 and 11 for the ToV podcast segment.